Hello and welcome back to The Long Way Forward. This is episode 18, the first 10 principles that changed everything. Today, in episode 18, we're going to do something a little bit different. If you've been walking this journey with me from the beginning, you'll know we've covered a lot of ground together. If you haven't, I highly recommend you pop back and start at the first episode. That's the foundations for this podcast, and it's quite important. You'll get a whole lot more value if you do. Where was I? Back at the beginning. We started with what you stand for. Those are the foundations. And then we moved into alignment, perseverance, sticking at things. When the going's tough, if there's value in what you're doing and you can see the outcomes are going to benefit you or others, perseverance. We touched on knowing your numbers, the power of reflection. We've even started to delve into leadership, whether that's leadership of the self, leadership of a group, leadership of your life. And from there, we've continued building, little by little, step by step. And on that little by little, if you're not familiar with the Japanese philosophy of Kaizen, stay with me because we're going to touch on that in future episodes. So step by step, little by little. But as I mentioned with reflection, every now and then it's important to pause. Not to stop. Just pause and take a breath. Step back for a moment and consider what we've actually built. Because if you're anything like me, it's very easy to listen to something and agree with it and think, that makes sense, and then move on without ever really applying it. So we've got to stop sometimes and look back and understand, hey, what did we touch on? Have we learned anything from it? How have we applied it? So this podcast is not about collecting ideas. It's about applying them. That's why most episodes in this podcast, we talk about one idea, one concept, and we give you an example of how that might benefit you, how it might play out. But one concept only, and then think about how you can apply it. Because this is about applying these teachings, because they work. So today, I want to bring everything back to something simple and practical. We're going to walk through the first 10 of the key ideas from the start of this journey. And for each one, I'm going to give you one simple action. Not 10 actions for 10 concepts, just one simple action for each concept. Nothing overwhelming. But first, I just want a quick shout out. If you're enjoying this podcast, if you're getting real value from it, and I hope you are, because this is why I'm doing it. I love helping people. Guilty confession. I love helping people and mentoring people. If you're getting things from this podcast, by all means subscribe. It encourages me. And by all means comment. I really enjoy seeing the comments and interacting with people. So where were we? Think of this as your starting 10. Kind of like the starting 5 on a basketball court. 10 small adjustments. Be ready to write them down. That if you actually apply them, will change the direction you're heading in for the better. Okay? This is how important it is. I talk about if you can measure it, you can manage it. Well, 10 small adjustments, if you apply them, what you're creating is kind of a checklist, kind of a plan. And if you don't have a checklist, if you don't have a plan, you don't have a map for life, you don't have a map for outcomes. If you don't have a plan, failing to plan is planning to fail. Funny that. So tip number 1. Right at the beginning, we talked about knowing what you stand for. So know what you stand for. Whether it's one value or 3 or 5, don't have more than 5. Most people have 3 to 5. I have 5. Know what you stand for. Because if you don't know what you stand for anything. Decisions become difficult. You hesitate. You second guess yourself. And you drift from one thing to another. You end up reacting instead of choosing. So here's the action. If you haven't already done it, take 5 minutes and write down One principle that matters to you. Not 10, just one. Here are some of mine. Integrity, one of the most important ones to me. Doing the right thing when no one's watching. Integrity. It'll help you sleep at night, trust me. Effort, courtesy, responsibility, excellence, empathy. These are all charity. These are all things that you can stand for. So just pick one. Just one. The most important one to you. Don't overcomplicate it. Write it down. Keep it somewhere visible. And the next time you have to make a decision, first think about that thing that you stand for. The next time you have to make any kind of decision, particularly a hard one, think about the thing that you stand for and how the answers to that decision best stack up against that thing you stand for. I guarantee you the answer to that decision will be so much clearer. Ready for tip number 2? Ready or not, here it is. Start before you feel ready. Starting is one of the hardest things to do. Starting this podcast, I thought about it for months and then I just started. It's not complicated. We overthink things. Humans, we make it complicated. We plan, we think, we research, we find reasons why not. We wait for the perfect moment, but the perfect moment probably never gets there. If you start learning. It won't be perfect, but you've done something. You'll make a mistake. You'll learn from that and you get better. So here's the action. Think of one thing in your life that you've been putting off. Something you've been thinking about starting. Now think about all the things involved in that thing that you're thinking about starting. Now reduce all of that down to the smallest possible first step and do that thing today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Don't put it off. Can't put life off. Because starting creates momentum. And momentum changes everything. That one thing that you've been putting off, find the smallest step that is a start and do it. Tip number 3. Build foundations. Build them up before chasing momentum, before chasing insane results. Sometimes we want results quickly. We want progress. We want change. We want reward. We want movement. But if the foundations aren't there, it doesn't last. I once had a manager say to me, I want lots and lots of sales. And that was great until we looked back at the business and went, you know what, we probably need to structure our support team a little bit more before, because if we onboard all this work, we won't be able to support it. I'm proud to say they listened to my advice and together we built an outstanding business. All based on good foundations. So here's the action. Ask yourself this question. What in my life am I trying to build right now? And what's missing underneath it? Is it structure? Is it consistency? Is it clarity? The thing you want to build might be that diploma that you want to start. Maybe you're like me, you're a mature adult. You want to start a course. You keep putting it off. Doing it aligns with your values. So the answer is, yeah, I should just do this. Well, the next question is, well, how do I start? Well, the smallest step is to just start, enroll. And then you might think, what's missing? What's been holding me back? Well, gosh, I don't have anywhere quiet to study. Then you know what you need to do. You need to set yourself up for success. Identify that missing piece and work on that, because those foundations make everything else easier. It might mean organizing the people in your life and setting the expectation to them, hey, everybody, Tuesday night is my study night. I need you to respect that and give me the peace and quiet that I need to complete my course. It's that important. Tip 4, back to our principles. Choose one principle and live it. Remember, you don't need 5 values, just one of your most important principles and live it. You don't need a perfect list, one is enough. One of my principles is courtesy. That's huge. Choose that one principle and apply it consistently for the next 7 days in your work, in your conversations, in your decisions. You don't need to get it perfect, but just be aware of it and apply it, and you will improve. The example I use is consistency. That might mean greeting people politely, using their names, not interrupting them when they speak. You have to be aware of these things. Think about your value, which is courtesy, and ask yourself, I need to live that. If you live that value, it builds identity. People begin to associate that value with you. It's not sucking up to people. It's not doing anything inappropriate. It's simply being courteous. And if you are consistent about being courteous, people will observe you as courteous and they will treat you politely in return. One example. Tip 5. Align your actions with what you say matters. Walk the talk. Misalignment creates friction. You might say one thing matters, but your behavior says something else. You might say, hey, I'm keen on recycling. I'm mad about recycling, but throw cardboard in the rubbish bin. People will observe that. Just one example. You might be saying to people, drive safely, but you find yourself speeding. It doesn't matter if no one's watching. If your value is integrity, do what you say you're going to do. Play by the rules. Ask yourself honestly, where in my life am I not living what I say I stand for? If one of your values, this is one of mine, is self-control. And let's say you like a beer, but after one beer you have another beer, and then another one, and then another one. Are you living that value? Self-control is not being observed. Find that one and observe it. Just a small correction, because alignment reduces friction and makes progress feel lighter. Back to the beer example, it might mean I'm only going to have one beer after work, and that's it. And stick to it. It gets easier. Trust me, it gets easier. Tip 6, keep showing up. Don't give up. Progress doesn't usually look impressive. Progress, people barely notice it. But it does look like showing up again and again, even when nothing exciting is happening. In the background, you're learning, you're practicing, you're getting better. So here's the action. Choose one thing and commit to doing it for the next 7 days. We talked about courtesy. We can talk about perseverance. It might mean that you want to start exercising, but do it. Just do it every day. Because you do it every day, that compounds. And the results, well, they'll show up over time, trust me. Tip 7, remember, know your numbers. Now, emotion, felt like nothing happened, can be misleading. Feels like a bad day, can feel like a failure. But numbers give you clarity. They show you what's actually happening. Instead of walking around the footy field 5 times where I started, I did 6 today. I feel I can go a 7th. That's progress. Broken down to its most simple level, knowing your numbers, you can see the progress, you can see the improvement. So here's the action. Put simply, pick one area you want to improve. Track one number in that area, just one. How many attempts? How many reps? What weight? How many laps? How many phone calls outbound? How many times you greeted people using their name? Track it for a week. Because once you can see progress, it becomes easier to keep going. At the end of the week, you might say, gosh, I forgot to greet 3 people by their name. But at least you know, right? Next week, you get everybody by name. Brilliant. That's progress. Which brings me to tip 8. Recognize your wins. If you never acknowledge progress, it starts to feel like nothing is happening, and your motivation can fade. So here's what I do, and here's the action I have for you. At the end of each day, ask yourself one question. Before you get in the door to the family, before you greet the dog, ask yourself one question. What went well today? I guarantee you, if you look and you're honest with yourself, you'll find lots of things, but find one thing. It doesn't have to be big, but recognizing it reinforces progress. Every week I have a meeting with my team. We have it on a Monday morning, and I say to them, bring one thing to that meeting, one thing that was a win or a positive step. Before we get into the other content, bring something. And they find things, every single one of them. Tip 9, we're nearly there, so stay with me. Reflect and adjust. So remember, just doing the action doesn't improve you, but reflecting on it does. You ask yourself, did that go well? If it felt good, great. If it didn't go well, why not? What can we do to improve? See, without reflection, you are doomed to doing the same thing over and over again the same way. But you reflect and you make adjustments. And we'll call them course corrections. Being a nautical type person, you'll often hear me reference, boats and the ocean. Course correction. Just 2 minutes. What worked at the end of each day? What worked well? What didn't? What will I do differently tomorrow? That's it. So simple, but really powerful. The last one, lead yourself first. All of the things I've spoken with in this episode talk about leading yourself, giving yourself feedback, being honest with yourself, setting targets for yourself, understanding and assessing how you can improve, and then doing it again and again and again. Because if you can lead yourself, you can lead anyone. You can lead groups, you can lead a relationship, you can lead a sports team. You see, as I've said in a previous episode, leadership is not about a title. It's about behavior. So here's the action. In your next situation, ask yourself, what would a leader do here? Now remember, what would a leader do here? It's a big decision. Reflect back on your values. Remember, people are going to be watching the outcome or your actions, and do what your values tell you to do. And then do it. Even if no one notices, you will. And you'll feel great. Because leadership starts with you and being honest with yourself. Now, if you step back and look at those 10 ideas, these are not complicated. But trust me, they are effective. And if you apply them consistently, they change how you operate. Because this journey is not about becoming someone else. It's just about becoming more consistent with who you already want to be. This is all about happiness, people. Only get one crack at life. Let's make it a good one. Now, in the next episode, we are going to take this one step further. We're going to talk about standards. And standards are aligned with everything I've just talked about. We're going to talk about what you accept and what standards you don't accept. Because what you walk past, the standard that you accept, becomes what you allow. This is the Long Way Forward podcast. If you've enjoyed what I've presented this afternoon, please subscribe. If you've got any comments, please pop them in the comments. I love responding with my viewers. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode.